I want to thank Happy Kippy for asking me to say a few words. 50 years. It was quick. Before I say anything, I have to tell you, Kippy is a jewel, a real jewel. I took note of the emails I got in the last 2 years. I got 200 and something emails. I don't know why I checked that. And those 200 emails accounted for like 350 other emails from other people. It was like, she's like the best spokesperson for saying that it's possibly that. And I appreciate everything she's done, and I know the work will continue. In 1959, we got from place to place by sticking out my thumb. Most of you remember that. My hitchhiking days started very early. I woke up one day and like all the dark blue had gone out of my little Columbia bicycle, and I had flat tires, and I stuck up my thumb. I was probably in 7th grade, and it worked great. Now, it just so happened I went to Notre Dame High School. It was quite a distance away. And for 4 years, from freshman year, first day, right to last, I got a ride. I did great. I hitchhiked all over the place. I wasn't good at a lot of things, but I was really good at hitchhiking. Now, it just so happened, my senior English teacher, who happened to be the vice principal of the school, and my guidance counselor, and as I said, my senior English teacher, his name was Brother Jermaine Burns. He called me up after class one day and he said, "Norman, I want to see you in my office." And he was kind of an overpowering guy. I was a little nervous, So I went in to see him, made an appointment right away. And he said to me, this is a true story. He said, "Well, Norman, what are you good at?" It was about my college thing, I thought really, I was doing pretty good in his English class. I wasn't going to say that, I said, "Well, I'm good at hitchhiking." Well, he jumps up and he says, "You know something? I have just the university for you." St. Edward's University is 3,200 miles away. It is a great hitchhiking destination. I thought, Austin, Texas? Are you kidding? So I go home and I told my parents. And of course, I was sitting at the table and I said, I got into St. Bonaventure and I had a couple of schools I could have gone to. I said, "Yeah, talking about the St. Edward's University," and well, my father, who I didn't have, his reaction was, "Son, you better get packing." I said, "Dad, I don't even remember. I didn't even finish senior year." I was like people were trying to get rid of me. So the upshot is, I did not hitchhike. I came down to St. Edward's University that fall, and I got on the train, and it was like, it had to be 27 days later. Halfway down, it just went on, and I thought, I should have looked at a map. I remember finding out, I thought, oh my God, it's that big state. Well, I get down here finally, and I get off, and there's a, this little, I'm sure all you guys remember this. It was like 110 degrees. I thought, Brother Jermaine has sent me to Purgatory University. It was so hot, I couldn't believe it. I thought, oh my God, it was well, the good news was, I absolutely, the first day, I loved it. I mean, every kid at St. Ed looked just like, similar to everybody I had at home. Except for Ron Wallace and Jim Mitty, because they came from Notre Dame, I knew that. But everybody else was, really, it was great. The bad news was, I sort of forgot why I was here that first year. I'll best tell you the story. This is a true story. It was January, very, very cold, and I see Brother Daniel Lynch walking in the science lab, and exams were over, and of course he calls me over, and I was so naive. I was thinking of like the Christmas story, with little Ralphie says, "Oh, A++." The exams were over, but of course he calls me over and he says to me, Norman, he's kind of a shy guy, he said, "The muse of biology has not shined upon you. Use of biology didn't shine. What is this? And he sort of backed that up by saying, you know, unfortunately, Norman, something to this effect, the world of science would probably be better off if you did not engage in it. So guys like Marshack and Bob Wilms and Furry and all those guys, and I was hard. I knew that my dream of being a neurosurgeon had to which my father would have probably been disappointed. But if that wasn't bad enough, the unexpected letter arrived about a week after I got home, telling my father I had for a year. And I remember him holding up the envelope. He held this envelope up, like Karnak. He says, I wonder what this is about, son. And of course, I do remember I answered my father. I said, it's about maybe my hitchhiking award. Of course, my father opens the letter, and it was terrible. I don't remember the letter, but it went something like this. Dear Mr. and Mrs. DeTullio, your son Norman is an idiot. Have a nice summer. Good luck. All right. I thought, oh my God. I know of no other misery like the misery of that summer. My father invented misery. So it wasn't really a pleasant thing. But actually, to tell you the truth, I came back and I had a job. My aha moment, that's how I should best put it, came. Of course, it came all summer, but the aha really came in the stacks of I worked with Brother Carroll in the library. 60 cents an hour. I used to be on the floor, but I asked him that year if I could work in the stacks because I could get a lot done, you know. And 60 cents an hour, great little job. I go up in the stacks, and I had plenty of time, and I was really I went to mass every single morning, okay? I'm in the stacks one day, and I happened to find this little T.S. Eliot book, The Four Quartets. Now, I'm telling you, this is true. I had never seen the book, but the Four Quartets, T.S. Eliot had come up 3 times. Once with Germanus Burns in that English class. Once with Pete Pizzoli in freshman English, which I just squeaked by. I didn't fail anything, but I squeaked by. And once with Dunstan Bowles. And I started to really peruse that thing. And it was one of those things that, you know, it was kind of talking to me. And there was one particular line in there, one particular segment, and I read the whole thing so many times, that went something like this. If you can imagine this being like a really propitious moment. Home is where one starts from. As we grow older, the world becomes stranger, the pattern more complicated of dead and living. Not the intense moment, isolated with no before and after, but a lifetime burning every moment. And not the lifetime of one man only, but of old stones that cannot be deciphered. Love is most nearly itself, when here and now cease to matter. Old men ought to be explorers. Here and there does not matter. Well, I thought about that for so long, and I realized that every one of those teachers, Germanus, Pizzoli, and Dunstan, never forced a response to what that meant. And the standard answer on the home is where one starts from was always pretty much the same, you know, as for where I came from. But the truth of the matter is, I started to realize that home, as all of them did, was really the place where you belong. And for me, I realized that this little hilltop at St. Edward's University was my home. That is where I really began to emerge after my crazy, ridiculous leap year. How could that not happen? With people like Edmund Hunt, Hugo, Fabius Dunn, Tom McCullough, Dunstan Bowles, Daniel Lynch, Pete Pizzoli, all those guys had such an impact on our lives, on my life. And if that wasn't good enough, we all had process of solving life's great mysteries not only occurred in those classrooms, but they occurred in the barrooms, in the classrooms, on the front of Holy Cross Hall. Who in the class of '63 cannot remember John Hoffman raising his glass of beer and reminding us all that Petoskey, Michigan was the greatest place on earth? Who knew that Tommy Nate, okay, could play the accordion, ref a fight, service class officer, and every other thing? I could do 3 things. Tom Nate could do everything. There were guys like Ray Cortan who saved my life with giving haircuts and letting me use his motorcycle. Guys like Steve Miller. I always think of Steve Miller, who slid those letters under the door. The letters that I still have today, Steve, that changed my life. It was a gift. And in these later years, to be in touch with you through the conference calls, and through Vicky's urging, guys like Mike Sherman and Tommy Nate and Neil Harrison and Gil Stansberry, who continue to really enrich my life. My feelings for St. Ed's go so deep and so far beyond anything I have ever imagined. My final thought is this, and I go back to the TSLE thing on homeless, where it starts from. You have to remember that, okay? I'm convinced that if you really want to come home to this place, this is my little theory, okay? You have to think in terms of, when you say your prayers, everybody says, I want to go to heaven. But you got to pick a place. It's like taking a trip, you know? You have to think to yourself, where would I really want to come back? Well, I know where I'd like to come back. Now, in the essence of what Eliot says, really boils down to this. It's the place you decide to come back to is the place where you will come back, and when you're there, it will be as if you were there for the first time. And I thought, that's pretty neat. So the idea is this. I think we all have to start to think in terms of where we want to be. And you put in your little reservation. When you pray, you say, look, because earth is like a blueprint for heaven. Let's put it that way. So you can come back to any good place. And I thought, what you do is you make a reservation and you pray for it all the way, all the time. So if you want to be back in Mishawaka or you want to be back in Petoskey, you say, listen, I want to be there, and maybe you will. But if you want to be on the hilltop, you just keep reminding everyone, and in your prayers, that that's where you want to be. And I'm pretty convinced. Now, you know that story about the white light, Kubler-Ross wrote this book. Everybody talks about the white light. It's a great white light, and you see God. Of course, they come back because they don't make it. They write a book. But the point is, I really believe there is this white light. So, what happens is, if and when you see this white light, if you're fortunate, and I'm sure you will, and you're getting through it. And first of all, I don't really think it's a white light. I think, and I have read all that, it's true. I really think it's probably a white car. It's like a big white car, probably convertible. And I suspect, maybe a Ferrari. Let's say that. It's going to be a Ferrari. Nice white Ferrari goes by, boom, zoom by, and somebody's driving it, and they don't ask any questions. You just stick out your thumb, and you're going to get picked up. And you don't come back to write a book. You just wind up here on the hilltop, back where we belong, and it's going to be a great ride. And the driver will probably be really good, St. Edward professor. He'll probably be there, pick you up, zoom you back. This is heaven. God bless all of you, all of my classmates. I totally owe you, beyond anything I could say, for making my life, enriching it so much. God bless you, and St. Edward's University is in my heart forever, as it is in yours. God bless you.